Good morning, friends and fellow traders. This is Doug Campbell with Right Way Options, and this is the Morning Market Prep video for April 4th, 2024. Well, hope you all had a good rest last night, ready for another wild day of trading. Let's take a look at what happened overnight. First off, if we take a look at Asian markets were mixed with the Nikkei moving up the most, up 0.81%. Actually, South Korea only up 35 points, but was up 1.29%. Hong Kong, on the other hand, went down 1.22%, and Shanghai also falling just a little bit overnight. If we take a look at European markets this morning, they're up almost across the board, but very modest gains, like 0.4 and 0.5% on those indexes. Really small, kind of wait and see type morning here going on in Europe. If we take a look at U.S. futures, however, that's not the case. U.S. futures are really trying hard to pump higher this morning. We've got Dow futures up 100 points, NASDAQ futures up 83 points. So really trying to push here for a bullish open today. Unfortunately, if we take a look at our bonds, we're not getting any help in the bonds. The 2-year has slipped just a little tiny bit. It's come back down to 4.68%. But right now, our 10-year bonds are holding firm at 4.36%. The 30-year bonds at 4.52%. We're not really getting much improvement in there. The market's just tired of selling and they just want to buy something, I guess, and they're trying to press in the pre-market to get something going. If we take a look at oil prices here this morning, right now we've got oil prices just a tiny bit lower, which is interesting because OPEC confirmed that they are going to maintain production cuts, even though we're seeing supplies dropping here in the United States. So we'll want to be watching that pretty closely. But even with that, we've got oil pulling back ever so slightly this morning. We're down like 10 cents on oil at 85.33 a barrel, 10 cents on Brent at 89.25 a barrel, and at this moment natural gas is sitting here unchanged. If we take a look at gold, boy, finally gold is taking just a tiny little break, at least at the moment. Gold futures are down $1.50 an ounce after surging up over $30 an ounce yesterday. Silver, however, big stretch yesterday, right now showing just a slightly bit higher here, up 7 cents. Copper is up, platinum is up, and palladium is looking a little bit lower. Then when we take a turn or look around cryptos are mostly higher this morning after a really rough day yesterday, and pushing up. Bitcoin is up $407 a coin at the moment, so trying to show a little bit of rebound here in crypto. Let's take a peek at our charts and see if we can gain a little information about how we might want to approach the market for today. But how about we settle in? Let's buckle up. Let's get ready for the Thursday edition of the Morning Market Prep video. Good morning once again, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. I very much appreciate it. Looking at the charts here today, remember what we want to do is we want to look at them as for what they are, not for what we want them to be. And let's try to shake off that bias when we take a quick look at these. So first off, if we take a look at the diamonds here, you can see the Dow pushing back up. You can see that little pink That's the pre-market trying to gap up here just a little bit. Yesterday we put in a kind of just a spinning top, couple spinning top dojis in here in a row, and we're still struggling with this resistance right here in the chart. So if the bulls can continue to find inspiration today, we need to push through there, and I'm going to suggest right through here would be the next little area of resistance. Notice that we almost connect all of these candles just within a breath. Almost connect those candles. So that would be our next area of resistance, I think, in the chart. If we can push through this resistance, pushing up into there would seem logical. Now, getting beyond that point is going to take a little bit of work because we've got to get back up through. Once we cross through here, we're going to have to get back up through some of these big candle swings. So maybe right in there, and we'll be testing out here whether or not we can deal with this trend break as well up in that area of the chart. And that'd be a pretty big point move, but it's certainly doable by this market. Now, if the bears were to find inspiration today, well, one of the things we noticed yesterday is we came back down into that area of support, and we double wicked down in here. We actually dipped just a little bit lower on that swing before they picked us back up. So watching that carefully in here, if the bears were to find inspiration, first I retested this level in here, test these wicks on that chart, and then maybe right down into that area is where we would be looking for some support. Beyond that point, it gets a little bit rough and we start dropping through some pretty big levels of price support, and we could sink pretty hard and fast if that were to occur. A lot of folks would become a little bit fearful and probably run for the door at the same time. If we take a look at our SPY, did a really good job yesterday pushing back up. We fluctuated in here yesterday, but as you can see, held up at the end of the day, pushing back up through that price resistance, bullish engulfing candle, and trying to push higher this morning. So one of the things we're trying to do is recover this trend here to see if we can get back above that trend. But it is important that we got back above this resistance here in the chart. Now the question is, can it hold? As we push on up, you'll notice there's a little bit of price resistance right through here on these candles, right in that area where we're pressing this morning. We'll need to see if we can bust through there, and if we can, then there's every reason to believe that we're going to be back up here testing the highs of the S&P 500 and maybe all-time highs. So watch that for that carefully. If, however, the bears were to find inspiration in the data today, well, then there certainly is that possibility that we reject this area up here, push back down, retest this area of price support, and if that were to fail, I'm going to suggest we come down into here to test the low of that candle, pushing down here, and then we start slipping through the progression here to the downside if we find reason for selling here in the market. Now, if we take a look at our QQQ, our QQQ had a very good day yesterday, and really it was big tech that did the majority of the work in here. You know, we almost need to take the big tech giants and put them in their own index, because they're really giving a false impression of what's happening in these indexes, because it's such a small group of stocks doing the majority of the work, which means our leadership is very weak. So imagine what would happen if suddenly the big tech giants start to really sell off. It could get rough, and the indexes could have some pain if that were to occur. Now, right now, big old bullish engulfing candle here. Bulls are in control, pushing up here, trying to regain this trend, trying to regain that resistance area in the chart. Remember, we have this big area of consolidation in here that we've got to break through. So if we can push on up here today, we need to push up into here, and if we can, then we start seeing that opportunity that we can attack these highs and maybe break out in the QQQ. If, however, the bears were to find inspiration today, boy, you couldn't create a better area for the bears to finally attack, as far as technically in the chart, and that would be attack right there at that resistance and pushing us back lower. Now, I'm not going to say that's going to happen, but if that were the case, then what I would be looking for first is I would be looking for a break back down below that little price level right in there. And once we do that, then I think we're going to start attacking these lower levels, and that possibility that we could come back into the bottom of these two candles pretty quickly. Beyond that point, you can see where that next level is. Pretty clear here for me, at least. Right through there would be the next level lower in the chart, so keep a close eye on that. And then if we take a look at our Russell, IWM had a good day yesterday as well, pushing up, nice bullish engulfing candle. But you will want to notice we're just pushing back up into this resistance zone of the chart. We're trying to push through here this morning with a little bit of bullishness, and if we can, those bulls would push right up into here and then possibly retesting that big resistance level up here. Notice we still have this trend in here that we're going to have to deal with as we push back up, kind of that double whammy up there of resistance. If the bears were to find inspiration, well, once again, pretty good area for us to maybe find that inspiration for the bears. I'm not saying they will, but if they were to push back down, maybe the first step, I'm thinking coming back down into here to test that area of the chart. And if we were to see any more bearish activity beyond that, then I think we're probably coming back down to this area of price support. Big point moves possible to the downside. Let's take a look at our VIX. Yesterday, our VIX gapped up and showed us some fear, but through the day, although we really didn't see much happening in the bond yields, we decided to try and ignore that yesterday, and we did fade this back. Now, one of the things that I still think we need to be paying attention, pretty close attention to, is we broke that resistance trend back to the upside, and now any fade back into here holding that upside trend would be the concern point. If we can hold in here and the bears re-engage, that's where we can see a little bit of trouble. It's usually the higher low in here that creates the problem for the market, so watch that carefully. And we've got good resistance up here as well, so there's nothing in here. We've obviously been trading to the upside for a long time here, and the market is trying to say, no, we're not scared, but boy, the price action would say there's an underlying fear out there in the market, particularly when we see gold and silver and things like that just zooming to the upside. Those are safety plays, and folks are running to a bit of safety in those areas of the market. So kind of keep that in mind. But right now, no reason to believe that we can't pull back here this morning with the way the futures are looking. We can push back down into here, maybe test some of those areas of support. So watch that carefully. And then let's take a look at our T20s. Our T2122 did a good job yesterday. More stocks moving up than going down, just kind of slightly moving up here yesterday. We bounced off of that 50% area of the market, and as I said yesterday, we had about an equal opportunity for up or down. We chose the upside. So as you can see today, we've opened up this opportunity, a little bit bigger opportunity for the downside if the bears were to find something inspiring. And we've got upside here as well, and we'll be pushing back up here toward that bearish reversal zone. Bulls are clearly in control. They don't want to sell anything. There's an underlying belief of strong upside. We had Jerome Powell saying we need more evidence before we think about cutting rates, and we had Bostic out there suggesting only one rate cut this year. So we've got a little bit of back and forth here, that little bit of uncertainty keeping those bond yields high, and that's creating that uncertainty here in the market. You do also want to remember that we're in that blackout period, so it's not uncommon to see choppy price action in the market where we kind of get range bound here for a while as we wait for earnings. Remember, big bank earnings will begin next Friday, so we've still got some time to wait. We could be very, very choppy waiting on that data. If we take a look at our T2108, our T2108 ended the day just slightly higher. Most of the day it was down, but just slightly higher. A little hockey stick here on the ice. That's usually bullish, and we'll want to be watching that carefully if we can push off of this support and continue to push higher. So no particular worries here. We're still seeing those bulls in control. These are the percentage of stocks above the 40-day moving average. And if we take a look at our T2107, same thing is true. Hooked back up, held on to some support. Again, we're up here in that frothy zone that we'll want to be paying attention to here. If the bears do engage, there are potential for some big price drops if the bears were to engage, but so far no sign of that in these charts. In our T2101, well, our breath fell away yesterday. So as we were pushing up and trying to rally yesterday, our breath continued to decline here in the market. So not uncommon this time of season where we're waiting for the blackout periods to be over and those earnings to trigger. But right now, just a little bit of fade back. Again, we got a little bit of a hook here. Might be suggesting that there could be a little change in breadth to the upside here today. We'll want to watch that closely. Let's take a look at our economic calendar here for today. There it is, our economic calendar. We've got a few things that we'll want to be paying attention to. Remember, our ADP number came in hot yesterday, so we'll want to be watching that carefully as we transition toward that employment situation number, the big government number coming in here on Friday. But this morning we're going to face the Challenger job cut report. We've got international trading goods, and they're suggesting a little tiny improvement here in international trading goods. Still a very big number, a negative 66.5 billion, but that's better than the 67.4 prior. So we'll want to watch that. And then we've got jobless claims. This is another area that the jobs numbers have been holding in there really strong. We're going to have to watch this closely, and I continue to think there's going to be that day when all of a sudden we're going to see a big jump in this. I don't know that when that's going to happen in any way, shape, or form, but we'll want to watch that carefully here. If we continue to show good, strong growth here in the market in jobs, that's going to continue to make it difficult for the Fed to cut. Remember, their dual mandate is inflation and jobs, and they've said over and over and over the job market is still too tight. It's improving, but it's still too tight. And then if we take a look, we've got Hawker speaking today. We've got a natural gas report, a bunch of bond announcements, a couple of bond auctions in here. And then we have a whole afternoon of Fed conversation to be paying attention to. We got a Fed balance sheet after the bell, and several more Fed members will be speaking here after the bell today. So going to be a busy day of yakking it up on the Federal Reserve side. And then if we take a look into Friday, we've got that employment situation number, a bunch more Fed speak, Baker Hughes rig count, and a consumer credit number. So watch those for tomorrow. Obviously, the Mac Daddy of the week is going to be that one right there, that employment situation number. Let's take a look at our earnings calendar here for today. Now, our earnings calendar, again, not very many earnings, and although I consider these to be a bit notable, they're not the kind of stocks that really move the market a lot, and we only have 5 of those here today for a Thursday, which is very, very light for a Thursday. LW will be reporting today. Looks like we got a little pop going in there, a little pop and drop happening in the pre-market on LW. We've got LNN reporting today. RDUS will be on that list. Nice setup here for potential earnings report, noticing that downtrend break, trying to make that higher low, holding support. This will be pretty critical report in here on RDUS. We got RPM that will be reporting, and we're going to have SMPL reporting today. So keep an eye on those. Those are our notables for today. Let's take a look at some stocks that could be setting up for today. But before we do that, guys, if you could do me that quick favor, if this is the first time you've seen these videos, if you could please click that subscribe button on YouTube, and also click that bell icon when it pops up so you'll be notified every time I post a video. And if you find these videos to be useful or helpful to your trading, and thank you so much to everyone who does comment that way, I truly, truly appreciate that. Do me that favor, and that would be click that thumbs up button and leave a brief comment. That helps the channel to continue to grow. Remember, guys, that even an emoji counts as a engagement with the video. So thank you so much to everyone who does do that. I truly appreciate it. Means an awful lot to me for the effort of putting these out. So thank you so much for all the kind support. Let's take a look at some of these stocks, and remember, guys, these are not recommendations to buy or sell any security. You need to do your own due diligence. You need to be very, very careful in this market. Try not to over trade as well, because the volatility and that chance that we could end up range bound here waiting on earnings. But that being said, there are quite a few stocks out there that are looking good and showing some beautiful signs of upside opportunity. Let's take a look at a few of those. First off, I'm going to mention LAC again. Now, I know this may be a little bit on the self-serving side because I am holding LAC, so please keep in mind I have a bias on this. I'm not trying to convince anybody to buy anything. LAC looking pretty good here in this chart. Now, we've been resting here for several days. We do have a resistance level above, but you know, I just think lithium has more upside in it, so I'll be watching carefully here and holding this in the chart. And I'm kind of thinking this is going to be a longer term potential trade for me, something that I would hold, not forever, but hold the swing here in that chart. So LAC looking pretty good overall. Watch that one closely. Now, when we talk about anything in these material sectors, boy, you really need, if you remember, I've been mentioning in the last few days, uranium, UEC, nice pop here on UEC, 3-4 days straight up here in that chart. Now, this needs a rest or pullback before getting into it. Don't chase it here, because we're coming into this congestion zone here in the chart. But the next rest or pullback that would hold on to this upside trend, just give it some time to pull back and consolidate, and then look for that next opportunity in that chart. And you can look at these charts. There's lots of uranium that's had a big surge here recently. URA, CCJ, beautiful chart, breaking hard here to the upside, coming back up here to test this resistance. So any rest or pullback would set up an opportunity. And you can even look at the quadruple U breaking through this basing pattern in here, and any rest or pullback would set up quite an opportunity in there. As you guys know, I've mentioned cannabis here. Boy, a lot of the cannabis stocks really turning around here. Look at Telray, big pop here on Telray yesterday, just zoomed. Any rest or pullback in here would set up an opportunity. And you can look at like CGC, you can look at Crone, you could look at the old Mary Jane ETF in here. Very, very strong, pushing up. So any hold of a higher low would set up an opportunity. And then even MSOS. MSOS didn't perform as well yesterday, but you can see it is trying to break through resistance here. So watch that carefully. It may have that opportunity to push on through in that stock or ETF as well. The other place that obviously has just been incredible, and that's going to be in the precious metals market. Gold has just been tearing it up. This needs a rest or pullback. There's just no question about it. I can't say that it's going to, that it could push on higher, but right now, very, very extended. In fact, we've gone parabolic on this move. Any rest or pullback, though, that holds in this trending area, holds in that upside move, would be the next opportunity for entry into GLD. Silver making a big break through some resistance here in the chart. Real big push here, pushing on up. So any rest or pullback that would hold a support level up in here, I would be watching for that next opportunity in silver. And you know, we just take a turn around all of the metals. Alcoa aluminum making a big run to the upside, and I'm going to push this line up here now because we broke some of these choppy areas here in the chart. So if we can rest or hold up here, maintain any of that trend, I would be looking for some Alcoa or aluminum. Copper, using Freeport here to display copper, just zooming up. SCCO, another copper play, zooming to the upside. Lots of strength in these metals. Any rest or pullback would set up an opportunity in those, so keep a close eye on that. To jump off of these commodity type plays here just a little bit, you guys know I've been talking about Caterpillar here. Caterpillar made that break yesterday. All you got to do on trades like this, when you find a trend, in fact, the mantra that I repeat over and over and over to folks in Right Way Options is find a trending chart and then wait for the next entry. And so what do I mean by waiting for the next entry? You see a consolidating move like this or a pullback move, set a price alert, wait for the next entry. Set a price alert, wait for the next entry. Set a price alert, wait for the next entry. Wash, rinse, and repeat. Every trending chart that you see, find those opportunities for those entries. And nice pop here in Caterpillar yesterday, moving to the upside. We've been identifying John Deere as setting up here in the chart. Good looking breakthrough on this resistance, and now we're resting and consolidating in here. So what's the rule? Find a trending chart, wait for the next entry, set an alert across here. This may have to bounce around in here all the way out here to trend. Just wait for it, wait for the next entry into the trade. Don't anticipate it. Another would be CMI, Cummins, showing that bullishness here. Find a trending chart, wait for the next entry, and there we have a nice little resting pattern out to trend, and we're starting to show that little bit of bullishness. Keep an eye on KMI or CMI, Cummins. Nice strong move in that chart. Take a look at Qualcomm. Qualcomm still looking very good in here. You can see there's that alert popping up through here, pushing to the upside, looking pretty darn good. I'd keep an eye on that. I think AXP is worth keeping an eye on. Nice little resting consolidation pattern in here. All we need is that little bit of bullishness to pop us up through there, and then we continue on up in our trend in AXP. So lots of good charts out there showing some bullish signs in the market. You guys know I've been talking about TEVA for a long time. Just a beautiful upside trend. This popped up, rested back, found support. Buyers are stepping up in here. This is what we call a pullback opportunity, and we look for that opportunity to find that entry into that trade, and then the resumption of that upside trend right there. So keep an eye on that if that can push on through to the upside. So quite a few charts out there to be looking at. I certainly don't want to ignore the oil sector at all. If we take a look at the XLE ETF, my goodness, these are just zooming to the upside, and it's hard to look any place in that oil sector and not see a lot of bullishness. And if you're in this, then I would suggest keeping those stops coming up. This is going to pull back here eventually, but when, I don't know, but just make sure you're protecting yourself. Raise those stops in these charts as we continue to zoom up in these sectors. We're not seeing any relief on this right now, and OPEC's not helping out with adding additional supply, and we're certainly not working too hard here in the United States under this administration to improve those supplies. So we should expect those gas prices to continue to go up. And usually, historically, when you look at seasonality, you'll often see some of the highest gas prices right around Memorial Day. So we've got some time to wait here on that, where our gas prices can continue to surge to the upside. So keep a close eye on that. So with that, everyone, hey, I'm going to wish you all a fantastic day. Thank you so much for being here. I do truly appreciate it. Be careful, be safe, and I'll see you right back here bright and early Friday morning. Have a great day, everyone.